When thinking about some of the themes in this series about people in boardrooms, people in leadership, and how they have their conversations, I wanted to model a conversation between two board members, with myself acting as the chair of the board. The scenario is that there is a non-executive director and an executive director who are part of a board, and I am asking them to come to a meeting ahead of the board meeting to try and deal with some of the tensions between them that are actually making the board meetings tense and unnecessarily uncomfortable for people. So I'd love you to dive in and have a look at the kind of conversation that I might have to bring people to their humanity. Thank you. Okay, Mark, Sean, we have a board meeting in an hour, and I asked you both to come along, an hour early, so that we could talk about some of the tensions that I've noticed are simmering between you, and I want to see if we can iron this out, because some of this is starting to impact the board meetings. Yeah. So I'd just love to hear from perhaps Sean. Perhaps you'd like to say something first.
Yeah, well, thank you, Chair. Thank you for bringing us together. You say some of the tensions. I think the tensions are caused by one particular fundamental issue. I don't think there's a variety of different things. I think it's one particular thing that we are disagreeing on that needs to be talked about and discussed. I wouldn't use the word tensions. I'd use the word tension about one particular issue.
Okay,
a fundamental issue instead.
Thank you. So, I noticed that you called me Chair, and I prefer that you just call me Maria, if you don't mind. I think what's important to you is that there's one fundamental issue, and you're here to talk about that.
Yeah.
I
can't see there's any other reason. I don't see what else we could talk about. That's the only thing we need to discuss, in my view.
Okay, so in your view, you're here to talk about that one issue, and that's the only tension between you?
Yes.
Okay.
What are the other tensions? I don't know what they are.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, Maria, I think that Sean is rather oversimplifying. He's right. One big difference between us about the process that is required to take this company forward. But I think there is also a fundamental difficulty of finding a common, and if I may say so, courteous form of discourse, which might enable us to discuss these central issues and its ramifications rather more profitably. Now, I'm as guilty as he is. I'm not pointing the finger when I say that, but I think that we have got across each other. And I think it would be helpful, not just to us, and we're just two directors doing what we do, but I understand you've asked us here ultimately to help your fellow directors and directors, over which you preside, to understand, among many other things, the issues that divide Sean and me. And
the issue, sorry to interrupt.
Well, very well. We'll see how it transpires. But however one describes it, to enable the rest of the board to understand how to make the right decision, having heard what we say, and really having heard clearly, because we are speaking more clearly perhaps than we have done before. I'm not saying I know how we go about that, but I understand the usefulness of exploring the territory at any rate for a little while before the rest of the board comes in, and I'll get about all our grubby then in front of everybody today. So that's all I can really add by way of preliminary.
Thank you. So if I've understood you, you're happy to be here to try and iron out some of the difficulties that you've had in conversing with one another.
Sure.
I've heard you say that you're not pointing any fingers, that and I'm hearing Sean say, there's only one issue to discuss. And I'm hearing you say that actually there are things to navigate here.
I believe so.
Thank you. Thank you. So what happens to you when you hear Mark?
With all due respect, I feel like this entire situation is becoming so overblown that it's just becoming completely. I feel like this is completely. I'm happy to chat, but I feel like Mark is making more of this than we need to.
But whenever I hear the words "with all due respect," the one thing I know is not going to be following is any kind of respect. It's a dead certainty.
I'm very happy to chat. I don't think we need to prolong it. I think there is one issue that needs to be discussed. As far as I'm concerned, that's the only bone of contention or the only tension. I don't see what else there is to discuss personally. But it sounds like Mark does have more to discuss, and that would be good for me to hear, I suppose. But I don't want to get lost in, and again, with all due respect, a lot of flowery language. There's one issue here, we need to solve it, and that's where I'm.
Thank you. So if I've understood you, you're really needing for us to be to the point.
Yes.
You're really needing clarity.
Absolutely.
And you're really needing progress.
Absolutely. Because we can talk all we like, but then nothing gets done, which is part of, the issue that I have with Mark's stance with bringing in, the new member of the team that we need. We need to do it, and we need to sort it out, and that's it.
Thank you. So from your point of view, this is, in your day-to-day of running operations.
Yeah.
You need a new team member, and you need to decide how we're going to do this and move it on.
Yeah. And as I've said repeatedly, we've already got the perfect candidate within the company.
Yeah, so.
And that's the bone of contention, if I'm correct in that. Mark wants to bring. Sorry, I'll let Mark speak. I don't see why we need to go shopping outside for this particular talent that I think we've already got that talent in-house. And that's the main point of contention, I think. Unless I've misunderstood that, Mark.
Well, when I said there are other ramifications, I think that it's certainly true that the decision that will have to be made is whether we fill this particular very senior and important position in-house, or whether we bring in somebody from outside that. And that's the decision that has to be made. But the implications of it could only too easily be lost. My concern, and as you will remember, I was brought in only 2 years ago to address the overall way forward for this company with a view to use a Maoist term, make a great leap forward. This is not just incremental advance, unless I've misunderstood. Maria, this company is ready, believes itself ready, and I agree to go for it now. And
I agree with you.
No, well, the one thing
I don't disagree with you on that.
No, I understand that.
But I feel like.
So wait a minute, just
a moment. I feel like I feel like you're saying that I don't agree with you on that, and I do.
No. I've got at the top of these notes, I've got the one point of agreement we have is that we need to win, and we need a winner in this post. I don't have any dispute with you about that. But I don't think, and this is
That's the first time I've understood that. I must say.
Well, that's good. We've made progress. We've called it a day. No, quite. But what troubles me about this company, and what I'm quite convinced needs change, is that the culture has become, without meaning it to any way be offensive, has become complacent. and complacency is death to a company. And we have a culture where everybody thinks, and there's a lot of truth in it, that people in position are doing good jobs. And they are. The company is flourishing. And so long as it's content to grow at the rate of 3, 4, 5% a year, and the shareholders are happy with that, fine. That's not, I think, the ambition of this company. And I think that there will need to be radical change. It's the sort of progress that is hoped for and planned for and intended is to take place. And you will not, I believe, find a change agent within the company who has grown up. You're very good at retaining your employees. So almost everybody here has grown up in the one culture, in some cases for decades. I don't think that's going to take you where you need to be. I think you need the dynamism of somebody with a track record at the top tier to come in, and I don't think Mark would enjoy, Sean would enjoy it, but give the company a jolly good shake-up.
Yeah, and I fundamentally disagree, because we don't need somebody from outside to come in and do that.
Well, let me put
Just
it
because
this
you're
way.
feeling uncertain about the growth of the company.
I don't feel
Mark.
uncertain about it at all. I think it's very clear. If things go on as they are, it will grow very slowly, and if you bring somebody in, it has the capacity to grow very fast. Let me give you an analogy.
So I actually want to pause this,
Yes, of course.
if you don't mind. So when we started this conversation, Sean, you were very clear that there was just one thing to talk about, one thing only, and if we could just sort of, agree to disagree or whatever. But you see, what I'm noticing is if that were the case, you'd be able to have a conversation about it.
Well, I've
And
tried.
so, absolutely. You're both trying to have a conversation, and this is what's happening in the board meetings. So, my worry, and I suppose, I'll own this as chair, is we could sit here, you could talk about that issue of should we hire internally, should we, whatever, sky's the limit. We can have that, and you can both agree on what your argument is, and then the rest of the board come and you can just pose your various arguments, and then everyone takes a vote. But that doesn't address the tension, because the fact that there's such a gap between you and you're unable to talk about it in a way that's consistent with enjoying the board meetings. That for me, that's what I brought you here to talk about. The truth is, in the end, the board will vote. That's how it works. And in the end, one of you will be disappointed. I'm not, that piece of business is fine. I'm really interested in what it is between you that you seem unable to find some mutuality, some joy, it's a piece of business. That's what I'm here to talk about. And while, with all due respect to you, yes, there is this issue, and if we can solve this issue. However, I have to say, these tensions have been apparent over other things. You've been here for 2 years, you've been in the business a long time. These tensions have been apparent. So I'm going to be really honest and say I'm trying to pull the rug out from under you both and say, what is it going to take for you to, dare I say, like each other enough?
I do apologise, but I don't think we have to like each other. I think we have to decide on the right way forward for the business. I'm not interested in liking people. I'm interested in growing the business, transforming the business, and moving us forward. And quite frankly, I don't believe that's going to happen with Mark's, with his idea of how he wants to do that, bringing somebody in from outside. I mean, I just don't understand why we need to do that when we've got somebody in the business who's got a proven track record. They've led a £5 million transformation last quarter. They've got a 94% client satisfaction rate. I don't see why we have to go shopping outside in the name of pedigree and destroy the morale and the motivation of the company. And I work in this company every day, day in, day out. I see what's happening on the coalface. And sometimes I feel that other people in the board, NEDs, etc., they don't see what's happening day to day. I've got 3 potential candidates, one in particular, the one I mentioned, who happens to be female, incidentally. I also feel that would be good for our diversity and inclusion message that we are feeling very strong about.
So what's really important to you is that you're understood for the day-to-day operations that you're in charge of, that you're understood for, you're promoting this internal hire, because if I've understood you, actually, I'm not sure I do understand you. Can you give me what's important to you about this? Actually, I think that's,
yes. I really feel very strongly that our internal leaders know our culture, our clients, and how we deliver, and that sends a very strong signal that we invest in our people, that we offer real opportunities, and that morale and that culture for the company is extremely important. And just for somebody to come in who, with all due respect, is not in the business day to day, wants to go shopping for somebody outside just in the name of pedigree, and potentially, destroy that motivation and morale of the entire company. I just don't understand why somebody's so adamant about that. If there was nobody, if I didn't have anybody that I felt was suitable, I could sort of understand it, but I feel like I'm just not being listened to.
Well, I'm not surprised if you didn't get anybody get a word in there.
Well, just bear with me. So actually, there's something here about trust. You want to be trusted.
I don't want to be trusted. I want to grow the business. It's not about being trusted. It's about listening to the facts of the case. I've told the board, and now I'm telling you, again, with respect, we have somebody in-house ready to step up, who's led a $5 million transformation and a 94% client satisfaction rate. Why do we need to go and get somebody from outside just in the name of pedigree? And I'm all for blue sky thinking, visionary thinking, that's great. But at the end of the day, I've got somebody ready. Why should we go outside? And that's a fundamental issue. And I don't care about being trusted. I'm just telling you that's where we're at, and that's what I feel we need to move with.
Yeah, something not working for me here, Sean. And I'd just like to be really honest about it if I can.
Okay.
Would you be open to that?
Okay.
Yeah. So we could have had this conversation in front of all the other board members. And I thought I'd try something. So I wanted to sit with you, and I wanted to find a way to connect to you. So what's happening?
Sorry, with all due respect, is this a therapy session?
No, it's about.
It sounds like one. I'm trying to run a business.
It's okay. So let me tell you what's happening is when I kind of offer something. So I keep offering something. And what happens is you go, is it a therapy session? I don't need trust. I don't need this. I can't find your humanity. And actually, that matters to me, because actually, in this world, we all want the company. Our remit is the best will of the company. But in my experience, what I found is that works best when the relationships are working. Relationships working first, and then address the business together. And I'm finding it difficult when you want to address the business first and I can't meet you. And I want to meet you. So I don't know what happens to you when you hear me say that. And now I feel nervous about addressing you, actually. And I'm not sure that's what you want.
Sure. I hadn't expected this conversation to go that way. I'm here to sort out the issue between myself and Mark. And I'm sorry if I come across, as if I'm not with no humanity. but I'm just very focused on growing the business, and I feel very strongly how we should do that.
And at the end of the day, we're a board, and it needs to feel like we can look after each other during this process. It's hot. This is, the company's about to go through, a big shift or a big change, and in the end, we'll all. But it's like, who wants to come to a board meeting and feel that it's just going to be tense? So, you've watched that interaction between Sean and I, and I'm just wondering where you are in all of this.
Well, I think, first of all, Maria, it's important for you to be aware that the opportunities I've had to talk outside the boardroom to Sean have been very limited. He's extremely busy, and this busy schedule very rarely seems to have a gap into which I can find a way. And what I suspect he may not have taken on board fully, and I was just having a look at the letter of invitation to join the board as an non-executive director. Again, 2 years ago I was invited to join for a number of reasons, but I think number one, certainly in the letter inviting me, was, and I quote, to challenge conventional thinking. And that has been the way that I've always done business. It's a way in which, no false modesty, I've had enormous success. And I think that's what the then chair was hoping to find in me when that invitation was extended. Now, that's the background. I don't think there can be any doubt that if the company is to make the progress that you and your fellow directors, our fellow directors, hope to make, change is going to be imperative. If we go on, the company goes on to achieve, we'll simply have the incremental growth as we used to enjoy with success for many years now. But if there is to be a dynamic change of tempo, then change is at the core of that. Now, change is not always understood as quite the radical process it is, almost a business specialisation. The management of change is, of course, the subject of extensive academic study with the rapid growth of MBA courses. But it is not as coincidence. It's not just because it's easy to study, it's because it's very difficult to do well. And most companies only get one crash at radical change in 10 years. I mean, could have another crash 10, 20 years down the road. You can't do it twice in 3 years. That has to work the first time. One of the sort of thing that troubles me about what I see as Sean's conventional thinking, which has served him and the company extremely well throughout his time there, is that when we're looking for the dynamic change agent, he points to 3 candidates in the company. Now, that tells me one thing above all, that there is not an exceptional person there. The other thing that troubled me in his summary of the recruitment thoughts he has is that one of them would be particularly suitable for diversity and whatever the I is. Well, right. That's not the way you measure the prospects of being able to have a dynamic, successful change agent. You look for somebody who has that quality above all else.
Yeah. Because I took some risks with Sean in the way I was communicating, and I'd like to take similar risks with you.
Absolutely.
And so I completely get that your remit is to challenge conventional thinking. That's why we have NEDs. That's the whole purpose.
Yeah.
Industry experience, knowledge, wisdom, thinking, outside the box. I hate that term. Yeah, exactly right. But I noticed, as you were describing the challenging of conventional thinking, actually, I'd love to tell you what I heard.
Yes, do.
I'd love to tell you what I heard. I heard Sean's got it all wrong and he's just doing conventional thinking and, we've got to do radical change. And I think what I felt was we were in a courtroom and that Sean's, I don't want to say arguments, but all of what Sean's brought to the table was just being knocked over one by one. And I, again, as I've said to Sean, I've been quite harsh with him about this sort of combative. And so while what I get from you doesn't feel so combative, actually, when I analyse it, it is. And I wonder if that's what's creating the inability to discuss this. I suppose what I notice is that having a I'm going to take a big risk here. Having a conversation with you does feel a bit like combat. And I don't think that's what you want. I don't think that's what you intend. And it's quite hard to be on the receiving end of. And I just wonder what happens to you when you hear me say that.
What happens to me when you say that? I feel we're not here to have nice conversations or chats. We're here to run a business. I'm interested in getting the job done. I said at the beginning, I'm happy to chat, and I am happy to chat about the fundamental issue, but I'm not here to have some sort of nice conversation. I want to get the issue solved. And if you feel me combative, then I hate to say this, but that's on you. It's not on me. I'm very loyal to this company. I believe in this company. I've been in this role for 3 years. I know what happens day to day in this company. I am telling you and the board that we have somebody in-house who is ready to step up, and you want to have nice conversations. I'm interested in moving the business forward.
I guess I'm...
Ouch, does it?
Yeah. So I understand. I think the key things are you're interested in moving the business forward.
Absolutely.
You're not interested in nice conversations.
Well, unnecessary nice conversations. We need to get the issues solved. Don't want to sit here and chat. We need to sort out what the issue is between myself and particularly Mark in this instance, come to a decision and get the business moving again. So when you said at the beginning, sorry to interrupt, when you said at the beginning, are you happy to chat? I am happy to chat, but I don't want to sort of get into some sort of personal, you feel combative, I don't like this, I don't like it. I want to get the issue solved.
So
it's not about personalities. It's not about
personalities. No, I completely agree. It's not about.
But I feel like you're trying to make personalities.
Ah, right. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for telling me that. That's created clarity. I'm not communicating in the way I want you to hear me in a very different way. I want you to hear me in a different way. When we feel strongly about something, and I feel very strongly about this. What I want you to hear is you feel very strongly about something. Okay, you feel very strongly about this internal hire. I completely understand it. I completely get, because you're the one on the ground day to day, and hiring someone from outside when there's already people that could do the job that have proved themselves.
Absolutely.
So I hear all of that, and I get the importance.
So why is there tension then, if you understand that?
And
what's the problem?
That not necessarily everybody agrees with that, and we have to be able to work in the area of disagreement without one person holding the standard for how the conversation goes. So if you say to me, I'm here only to do this, that and the other, and I say,
I'm not this, that and the other. Sorry, with all due respect, run the company.
Okay, Yes, but like I said, I'm only here to run the company in this particular way to achieve the best outcomes. And I say, well, so am I. But my way of doing that is different to yours. Are you saying that I'm wrong?
You're the chair, Maria, so I have utmost respect for you and for Mark. I'm not saying you're wrong. I don't even know what your view is on this particular issue. I obviously know what Mark's view is on the issue, and that's what I'm here to discuss.
So my view is not on this issue. My view is about the way we are communicating with each other. And I actually, the board will decide this issue. That's why we have board meetings, it's set up. I'm interested in the way we communicate with each other. And having experienced the two of you, it's not enjoyable. And actually, it can be doing business well, and be a joy and be enjoyable. And we don't need to send each other Christmas cards. We don't need to come around each other's houses, but we could actually look forward to seeing each other. So I'm kind of interested in, I feel that I've kind of brought you to the table. I've had something to say about what I've noticed. The board will vote on this, and I'm sure both of you will present whatever you need to present. I just wonder how we talk about it, how you two talk to each other. This is not battle lines have been drawn. So I wonder now if you can see where I'm coming from in having this meeting. That's what I suppose I'm asking you.
Well, I think I do, absolutely. Can I just say a little more about our not quite relationship? Because I think that is much more than the difference of strategy that we propose. I think that's at the core of the difficulty that you've invited us to start thinking about addressing in this informal pre-meeting meeting. My perspective of this is that, and it's very difficult not to get confrontational, and on the other hand patronising. There's a middle course between the two. But I have no doubt at all, from what I know of Sean's work, that you have an outstanding employee that you really need to hang on to and get from him all the great deal that he has to offer. But I'm very aware that his experience of the industry is limited to this and of previous consulting.
So where are we now? So we came in all guns blazing, me too, because there were some things I wanted to get across. Where are we now? Not saying we've done anything about this, but where are we now?
Well, I feel like you say we haven't done anything about this, but it's the first time I feel hurt, if I'm honest. And it's the first time I feel like there is room for Mark and myself to actually, discuss the issue rather than have certain people's opinions just thrown in my face. And my experience disregarded in every way. So I feel like there is an opening to have a discussion, at least.
Was that okay for you when I
No, that's fine. No, actually, I haven't got where I am. Without being told I'm wrong. But what I think, I hope, we can have from today is what I've heard described in another context as learning to disagree agreeably. We haven't yet, so far, I should say, found a way of doing that. And I think that it's something I have experienced before. I hadn't identified in this context that failure to communicate, whether it's because I didn't find the way of right way to say, or Sean didn't make time of it. I'm not going to figure it didn't happen for whatever reason. And I hope that the door is now open for that kind of conference. I don't want to go too far and disagree, agree, we don't have to be that. lovey-dovey about it, but it would be civil and listen. And listening, I think, is what I hear Sean open to, and I hope that I have become more consciously open to and hitherto.
So I'm noticing that the other board members are going to arrive and we're going to have a board meeting. And this is just a suggestion. The other board members are going to come in soon. Can I just leave it to you two to kind of figure out how you want to discuss this or where you want to discuss this? Take it offline.
Yes,
is that okay?
I'm sure we can do that.
And would you let me know if, you try to do the conversation and it doesn't work? Would you come back and could we tease this out some more?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, I'm very open to talking, having a conversation.
Do you know what? It's really nice to see you smile, Sean. Actually, it really is nice to see you smile. Thank you so much. And thank you.
Thank you, Maria.